I don't just react and I don't just listen to like what everyone's telling me to do. I really go off of, is this right? Is this the right timing? Is this the right way?
I mean, you talk about pressure and social media and like a lot of different topics, like we were saying. And one of the pressure moments that stood out to me in the book was also, you know, talking about the fantasy suite and the Bachelor and all that stigma and stuff like that. What do you say to people who do, you know, say things kind of like, well, you know, the fantasy suite is part of the Bachelor, or like, how did you navigate that and stick to yourself? Because that is a huge theme of, you know, you made this decision, whether it's about waiting to have sex till you're married or something else, that you had to, you know, stick to your guns.
Yeah. You know, for me, everyone's like, you know what you're getting yourself into when you go on that show. I actually never watched The Bachelor, so I truly didn't know what I was getting myself into. And even if I did, you really don't, one, you don't know how far you're going to make it. And two, you don't know what you're going to be feeling. You don't know what you're going to be faced with. And for me, I've always viewed myself and my life as, no matter what environment I'm in, no matter where I'm at, I'm never going to lower my standards. I'm never going to change myself. And I'm never just going to okay something that doesn't sit right in my heart and that doesn't align with the vision that I have for my life. And so even though Fantasy Suite Week, you know, it has this label, it has this connotation, it has this reputation as this is the time where you have to explore your physical connection. Well, that's not something I really like believe in and value in my relationships. And I know that's different for everyone. But for me, it wasn't a week where I was saying, okay, you don't get to do this. You have to do it the way I do it. And I know that's how a lot of people took it was, you know, I gave Peter this ultimatum, but it was rather, hey, these are my values and my beliefs and convictions. If we're going to do life together and you want to marry me, which I'm not pressuring you to do, right, that's your choice. But if you do want to be with me and you do want to choose me, you have to know this is how I view this and this is how I feel about this. And so ultimately it's your choice. And that's what I wanted to give him, but I wanted to be fair and I wanted to be honest with telling him about that going into that week so that he had everything up front and he wasn't just blindsided, you know, at the end of me just saying like, oh, you did this, okay, bye. And me not, you know, share with him honestly about how I felt about that week. And I knew that I wasn't going to do Fantasy Suite. I knew that that wasn't something that, you know, really stood again in line with what I want in a relationship and what I want in ultimately in a marriage. That's something I have saved for them, you know, my marriage. And so I do think that in looking back now, I could have shared certain things a little sooner, but I am someone who is always led by peace and always just constantly, I don't know, just kind of like praying through things. And I don't just react and I don't just listen to like what everyone's telling me to do. I really go off of, is this right? Is this the right timing? Is this the right way? And, you know, I shared what I shared when I felt like I needed to share it. And I know a lot of people didn't agree with it, and that's totally okay. I can see where people come from. I can see, you know, why people had certain opinions that they had, and even why Peter felt the certain ways that he felt about it. I can see all of that. But one thing I can say is I was 100% myself, and I don't have any regrets. I felt like I, you know, went about it in the way that I felt like I best could. And at the end of the day, you know, Peter wanted me and wanted to choose me. But ultimately, you know, our values didn't align, so it didn't work out. But yeah, I think that was kind of my mindset in that week. And I didn't know what was going to happen or what was, you know, how it was going to turn out, but I knew what my standards were and I knew what I valued and what I ultimately wanted. And so if he didn't meet that, then he just wasn't the one for me.